You can't even say that your personality is exists as a constant reality. You can't even say that your personality exists as a constant reality. What do I mean by that? You're changing all the time, aren't you? Aren't you being influenced all the time by what's happening? Learning new things, letting go of old things, right? So what you believe today, you may not believe tomorrow, right? Your personality is in a constant state of change, just like everything else is in a constant state. The weather changes, your body's changing all the time, your mind's changing all the time, your personality's changing all the time. Everything is changing. You can't find anything that's not changing. Everything is unstable. It never stays the same. So your personality is not even a stable reality. It's a constantly changing, unstable reality. And so where do you rest? Where do you get any rest? Where are you able to relax with the idea that there's something in this experience of being a human being that stays the same, that doesn't keep changing? That's the source of a lot of our anxiety, although we don't necessarily notice it, that there's nowhere that we can really relax because everything's constantly changing all the time. And then we discover this teaching, the Zen approach or the Buddhist approach or the mystical Christian approach or the Taoist approach or the Kabbalah. All of them basically say the same thing. And what they basically say is, number one, the beginning, the first place to start is to allow yourself to take notice that you are not who you think you are. You think you are a personality, and that personality is a mental process. It's not even stable at all. It doesn't even stop at all. Your personality is a process, right? It's going on in the thought process all the time. I think. That's your personality. I call myself the thinker of my thoughts, and I think. And how I think is how my personality is, right? So it's a process. Your personality is a process. It's not even anything that has any consistent, stable reality to it. And then on top of that, you're not who you think you are. Well, what does that mean? It means that you were here before you learned who you are. You were here before you learned who you are. Who was that? Who were you before you learned who you are? I sent a thing out today that I came across in one of my old files of a little baby in a high chair. Did you see it?
No, I missed it.
And the reason I sent that is that is a brief video that shows you what a human being looks like before they learn who to be, right? So this baby's sitting there in their little thing where they eat, right? And the mother's there. And the mother's like making some sounds, or and the baby's giggling, right? And it's a beautiful video because the baby's face is just so totally there, totally present to the mother, right? And the mother starts making these, funny noises, and the baby's cracking up and laughing. And then she makes a loud sound. The baby,
baby just freezes.
Yeah, in the middle of laughing, right? And then she goes back to making funny sounds, and the baby starts laughing. And then she makes a loud sound, and again. And the baby goes back and forth between laughing and being horrified. Laughing and being horrified. That's the natural state. That's the natural state. That baby doesn't have a personality yet. That baby hasn't learned how to behave in relationship to the world. So the baby's in direct contact with what's happening, right? If it's scary, the baby's scared. If it's funny, the baby laughs. If the baby's diaper's wet, the baby cries. If the baby's hungry, the baby cries. You feed the baby laughs, right? That's direct contact with reality, right? And then that baby gets a name and starts to learn about how to be a good person, not just who you are, how to be the right way, not just the way you are. And so we get learned out of it. You get learned out of the natural state, right? And then we end up being a person, and we don't know we're a person. We think we are. We think we are that. I am, what do you mean? That's why when you ask somebody, who are you, which is not a popular question, because it's one of those things that people kind of get a little antsy about. But when people are asked, who are they, the only possible answer they can give you is what they think. That's the only possible answer they can give you is what they think. And the reason that's the case is they don't have anywhere to go. They don't have anywhere else to go to get the answer. To tell you what I think. And when they tell you what they think, they'll be telling you what somebody told them to think. I'll tell you what I think, and what I think is what I was told to think. So where's the authenticity? Where's the real you, right? For many people, they will live their life from birth to death and never experience anything other than the personality and consider that to be who they are and consider the world to be what they learned it is, and that's the end of the story. And it will include a lot of suffering, a lot of disappointment, a lot of struggle, a lot of trying hard, right? And a lot of surrender, because after a certain point you just can't do it anymore, you're just too tired. So the alternative to all that is to wake up. To wake up. What does that mean? It means to allow yourself to discover, allow yourself to make contact with the truth. And the truth is, you are not a personality. Okay, so if you're not a personality, that would then lend itself to the next question, right? Which would be what?
Who are you?
Yeah. If I'm not a personality, well then what am I? What am I? Now you're beginning, now you're beginning to enter into the possibility of an authentic life. You're beginning to enter into the possibility of discovering the reality of what you are rather than what you believe yourself to be. And this offers you an entirely different possibility. So then the answer to that is, one way to come to see who you are is to entertain this question: are you aware? And that's an obvious question, right? The answer to that's obvious. You don't have to think about it, do you? No. Your awareness is the most fundamental and obvious aspect of your existence, is it not? Yeah. And if you're not aware, if you weren't aware, which means you're here, your awareness means you're here, it means you're present, right? And if you weren't aware and you weren't here and you weren't present, you wouldn't be here. Right? So it starts to look like, that must mean that I am the awareness. I am the awareness.